is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, bro. He's hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion, but I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith called out Floyd Mayweather for minimizing Terence Crawford's victory over Canelo. Smith argued that Crawford had achieved something historic, becoming undisputed in multiple weight classes, a feat no one else had done. He emphasized that Crawford earned his legacy through hard work and deserved respect, not doubt. For Smith, the win over Canelo wasn't just another fight, it was a career-defining moment that pushed Crawford into the conversation with the all-time greats. He made it clear that Mayweather's criticism could never take away from Crawford's remarkable achievement.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather shared a strong opinion on the shock Crawford delivered to Canelo, saying the loss will always leave a mark on Canelo's legacy. He explained that Canelo was the undisputed king of the division, with both the status and dominance to back it up, yet he was humbled by a fighter who moved up in weight to challenge him on his own stage. For Jeff, this was not a minor blemish, but a lasting stain that will forever be linked to Canelo's name in boxing history. He pointed out that great champions are remembered for defining moments, and for Canelo that moment became a crushing defeat to Crawford.
Discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on, because even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever and an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was amazed by Crawford's victory and openly expressed his respect. He highlighted that being there in person made the historic moment even more meaningful for him. In his view, no one in boxing history has done what Terence Crawford just accomplished, moving up in weight to beat a dominant champion like Canelo so convincingly. He called it a career-defining achievement that separates Crawford from the rest and guarantees this night a permanent place in the sport's history. For Smith, it was more than a fight, it was a turning point in how greatness itself is measured in boxing.
Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there, because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
Crawford's trainer was firm after the fight, saying his fighter has nothing left to prove. In his eyes, Terence has reached a level where respect should no longer be questioned, yet some critics still hold back. That frustration showed how even after dismantling one of boxing's biggest stars, Crawford continues to face debates outside the ring. His trainer made it clear that Crawford is not focused on another fight right now, because what he accomplished against Canelo is more than enough to secure his place in history. For Crawford, this was never about chasing names, it was about leaving behind a legacy that cannot be denied.
And his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who's one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terence Crawford. And they're saying that Terence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terence Crawford is ducking and Terence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24.
Timothy Bradley gave one of the boldest takes by comparing Crawford directly to Floyd Mayweather. He argued that Crawford's name now deserves to be at the very top of the greatest of all-time debate. For Bradley, this wasn't just about beating Canelo, it was about redefining what pound-for-pound number one truly means. He pointed out that while Floyd mastered the sport in his time, Crawford proved he could do it at an even higher level by taking on and defeating Canelo at his peak. In Bradley's view, this victory elevated Crawford into a rare space where only the absolute legends of boxing belong.
Might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terence Crawford. Everybody put his
Roy Jones Jr. gave a balanced view, noting that Crawford's win was very different from when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo years ago. He explained that Floyd fought a younger, less experienced Canelo and used his skill and ring IQ to outclass him. Crawford, on the other hand, faced a fully developed version of Canelo, the same fighter who had ruled his division for years. Even though Crawford was the smaller man, he still broke him down. For Roy, that alone makes the achievement extraordinary, because Crawford overcame a Canelo who was stronger, smarter, and sharper than the one Mayweather defeated.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak, even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we have put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time.
Duke McKenzie was left amazed by what unfolded in the ring. He said Canelo simply had no solution for Crawford's non-stop pressure, speed, and accuracy. He called the showing unbelievable and one of the most complete performances modern boxing has ever seen. McKenzie pointed out that Crawford not only became undisputed, but also showed himself to be nearly unbeatable even against the toughest challengers. Speaking with clear awe and respect, he stated that Crawford has set a standard so high that very few, if any, fighters will ever match it.
What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win. Said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs. You know, hitting him with the head and the body. The little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win rounds.
Trainer Robert Garcia delivered one of the strongest praises for Crawford by claiming he has accomplished more than Floyd Mayweather in this situation. He noted that Crawford clearly won 9 to 10 rounds against Canelo and showed a level of hunger that Floyd never displayed in such a high-risk challenge. Garcia pointed out that Mayweather never moved up to take on and dominate a naturally bigger champion, the way Crawford just did, which makes this victory both unique and historic. For Garcia, it wasn't only about titles or records, it was about daring to take risks and succeeding, and that is what separates true legends from icons.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear
Brian Norman Sr. did not hold back when he said Terence Crawford's domination of Canelo Alvarez was far harsher than anything Floyd Mayweather ever did. His statement struck a chord with fans and analysts because it reflected exactly what unfolded in the ring. Canelo, the longtime king of his division, wasn't simply beaten, he was systematically broken down by a fighter who had moved up 2 weight classes to face him. Crawford's display was a masterclass that redefined greatness in today's boxing. For years, Canelo ruled the super middleweight division, presenting himself as the face of the sport, fighting top names and becoming one of its most marketable stars. His power and steady pressure made him seem nearly untouchable, with challengers often falling short. But in a single night, Crawford shattered that image. What made it so stunning wasn't only the outcome but how it happened. Canelo wasn't narrowly outpointed, he was completely outclassed, left with no answers to stop the onslaught.
The best. I gotta give it to him, bud. The best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You got to respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way he won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Canelo was, Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Tremont or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather, having shared the ring with both. What do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things it's opinionated situation because styles make fights. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing because styles make fights. You just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras.
Yeah, different eras. It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Andre Ward, a legend himself, placed Crawford's win in its proper historical frame. He called it a generational fight, the kind of moment fans will remember for decades as a turning point in boxing. Ward said nights like this define careers and separate great fighters from true legends. What stood out to him most was Crawford's discipline, staying sharp, calm, and intelligent from start to finish, never letting emotions interfere. For Ward, this was a GOAT-level moment that pushed Crawford into the discussion of the greatest fighters ever. By dismantling Canelo, the way he did, Crawford lifted himself onto a pedestal that only a handful in history can reach.
That performance from Canelo, from Terence. Terence Crawford is great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight, and he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.